Wednesday, January 21st, for the first time on network television, CBS presents Richard Pryor in Grease Lightning. He'll race anyone, anywhere, anytime.
Can he drive? Can he drive?
It's fun in the fast lane. With Richard Pryor, Beau Bridges, and Pam Grier.
If I don't know nothing else in the world, I know how to drive.
And no one can keep him from the winner's circle. Don't miss Richard Pryor in Grease Lightning on the CBS Wednesday Night Movies, January 21st.
Saturday, CBS Sports serves up the best in tennis when you'll see the Grand Prix Masters. The top players on the circuit are expected to compete in great head-to-head action. Saturday, 4 p.m. Eastern on CBS Sports.
I have a dream today.
Tomorrow, Americans of all races celebrate Martin Luther King Day. We'll have full coverage of the day's events on the CBS Evening News tomorrow night.
Here's the official 1981 inaugural catalog. Call or write today for your free copy. It's filled with mementos of Inauguration Day. Thank you.
This is CBS.
Good evening, I'm Gary Justice. In the news tonight, Olympia and Lacey celebrate the inauguration of Governor John Spellman. King County gets a new executive. Jimmy Carter says goodbye to the country. Newspaper workers meet to talk about the merger of the Seattle Times and the PI, and the Seattle Mariners are sold. We'll have those stories and more next in the Eyewitness Newsroom.
You make an extra effort in everything you do. This extra effort sometimes means not eating the way you should. Now make the extra effort to fortify your diet with All-B C800, our extra strength vitamin formula. All-B C800 gives you extra strength in vitamin C with 800 milligrams, plus extra strength in 4 essential B-complex vitamins. All-B C800 or All-B C800 plus iron for women, our extra strength vitamin formula for extra effort people. All-B C800.
Channel 7, Seattle. Gary Justice, John Marler, Harry Wappler, Wayne Cody, with the Eyewitness News team and reports from Chopper 7. From the newsroom in Seattle, this is Channel 7 Eyewitness News at 11.
John Marler won't be with us this evening. He has the night off. The inauguration of John Spellman as Washington's governor is still going on. At this hour in Lacey, they are toasting Governor Spellman with champagne. The 11 o'clock toast is part of the inaugural ball, the final act of a day full of ceremonies installing John Spellman as this state's 18th governor. Some 3,200 guests paid $20 apiece to attend tonight's function at St. Martin's College. The day's activities got underway shortly after noon at the state capitol with the swearing-in of Governor Spellman. Our Eyewitness News Olympia correspondent Ed Evans was there for this report.
John Spellman arrived in Olympia shortly after 10 o'clock with his family at his new home, the governor's executive mansion.
I'm so excited. Make sure the family's all checking in.
Most of the Spellman children, 6 of them, had already arrived and were waiting inside. It was, without a doubt, John Spellman's day. The new governor joined 8 other state elected officials as they were individually sworn into office, and then he addressed the members of the legislature and the people of the state.
We need to put aside the rhetoric that has divided us. Let us emphasize the principles upon which we agree, accentuate the positive. Let us start with the assumption that all of us, that each of us is working in good faith. And let us get on with our job.
His inaugural address is one designed to set the tone of the next 4 years of the Spellman administration. It was an address that stressed the importance of cooperation and the sense of urgency of the state's financial crisis. But Spellman's personal warmth came through, too, when he allowed himself to be coaxed into singing some Irish favorites. To the governor's inaugural address was enthusiastic but slightly guarded from Democratic leaders, including Spellman's election opponent, Jim McDermott.
Well, I think the governor started out on the right foot. He was positive and reaching out to both sides of the aisle. He was optimistic, and I think that's the only way you can start out.
A theme of unity could be traced through the governor's remarks. His speech seemed to want to embrace as many philosophies as possible, philosophies that are too frequently identified with partisan positions. For instance, he said there is a need to support labor unions, and he said the environment of the state cannot be ignored. And he also suggested it's time now to put aside rhetoric and get on with the business of the state. From Olympia, I'm Ed Evans, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
Just shortly before Governor Spellman took his oath of office in Olympia, his successor as King County Executive was sworn in Seattle. Bob Branham has that story.
Republican Ron Dunlap is a member of a very select group. He is only the second person to hold the office of King County Executive. After the noontime swearing in by Superior Court Judge Jack Schofield, Dunlap said his top priority will be relieving the overcrowding at the King County Jail.
A monumental task, but one which I'm very much dedicated to resolve. We need both a short-term and a long-term solution to the jail problem. Those solutions are going to be funded out of existing revenues. That is to say, no new taxes.
Still, the money to improve the jail must come from somewhere. Dunlap says he'll trim county budgets elsewhere to the tune of at least $2 million. That money will be used to open a new minimum security center on Capitol Hill to take some of the pressure off the downtown Seattle jail. In addition to jail improvements, County Executive Dunlap would also like to extend the 911 emergency telephone system, now operating in Seattle, to the entire county. But that too will take money. Money that County Executive Dunlap now admits the county simply does not have. Bob Branham, Channel 7 Eyewitness News, the King County Courthouse.
President Carter went on national television tonight to say goodbye. It was a 20-minute speech and it covered a lot. Bob Schieffer has the report.
Friends said Mr. Carter decided last month he did not want to dwell on either past accomplishments or failures during his farewell address. So as he spoke from the White House tonight, he spoke about those things that most concern him as he leaves office. He expressed worry about the increase in single-issue political pressure groups, urged a strong continuing commitment to human rights and protecting the environment, and in an impassioned plea for arms control, said that the risk of nuclear war is growing.
The danger is becoming greater. As the arsenals of the superpowers grow in size and sophistication, and as other governments, perhaps even in the future dozens of governments, acquire these weapons, it may only be a matter of time before madness, desperation, greed, or miscalculation lets loose this terrible force.
As for the hostages, Mr. Carter's message was much the same as it has been since the time they were captured. He asked for prayers, but said he could not predict what would happen. Bob Schieffer, CBS News, Washington.
One of Mr. Carter's last official acts as president will be on Friday when he hands out the nation's highest civilian honor, the Medal of Freedom, to a number of Americans, among them CBS News anchorman Walter Cronkite and the late Chief Justice of the United States, Earl Warren. It now appears certain that the U.S. Senate Foreign Relations Committee will vote tomorrow to approve Alexander Haig's nomination as Secretary of State. The committee's hearings finally ended today following 5 days of sometimes grueling testimony from the retired general. There is one less obstacle in the way tonight toward ending the hostage crisis. It was removed by the Iranian parliament and involves Iran's frozen assets in the U.S. The parliament has given the Tehran government the authority to accept international arbitration about the disputed money. That move could allow Iran to free the 52 American hostages in return for almost $7 billion in frozen assets, which are uncontested. The State Department, however, continues to react cautiously, saying there are still major differences between the two sides in the negotiations. Chrysler officials are smiling tonight. We'll tell you why in a few minutes. We'll also have an update on how newspaper workers feel about the proposed merger between the Times and the PI. Those stories and more when Eyewitness News continues.